Real Delusionals of Bia. Why? Because everything that I'm doing now were my delusionals a couple months or years ago, but they are
Yeah,
real now. So it's like
I
it's this
love that.
very utopic moment almost that I'm like, oh my God, who would say for me a year ago that I would be doing this interview in Mauritius Island? You know? Like, hey, amazing. So first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. As you said, we've been talking a little bit, and I think we connect very quick. So yes,
Mhm.
so I am Bia. I'm originally from Brazil, but I immigrated to Portugal around 10 years ago. And so traveling has been in the center of my life for many, many years. And I just became digital nomad, remote worker about 7 months ago. Although before I was moving around before because of my jobs. So I come from traditional hospitality, and 7 months ago, I made a move to start creating my own consultancy slash creative studio slash being freelancer. And yeah, and it's been a very rewarding, very intense learning journey. I think what I also want to people to know about me is that I'm a social butterfly. I love connecting with people. I love getting to know history, places. So that's one of the reasons that motivate me to travel and that motivate me to do what I'm doing now. So then I can discover more places, more people, maybe also inspire people. So yeah, so that's a bit about me. I don't know if you want me to tell something more personal. I can also do that.
Yes, you can also do that. Yes, anything you
Okay.
want to.
Okay. So I am a very creative driven person. I was an athlete for 10 years. I was just gymnast.
Wow.
So I'm very sporty, yes. And one of my favorite ways to explore destination is actually trying the sports of every place that I go.
I
So
love
I done
that.
my
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I done my time when I was in Thailand. I mean, that's very normal. I tried to do Kung Fu when I was in Japan,
Yeah.
not Kung Fu, sorry, and Tai Chi too. And then I always just try different things. I mean, a lot of surfing, but that's me in a nutshell. And yeah, I have this creative artistic thing that I've been trying to explore in a different way now that I'm traveling. And yeah, just love to talk. So that's a bit more about me.
I love it. I love it. And we talk about travel. If we rewind
Mhm.
just a bit, when was the first time that the bug of traveling sparked in you, and have your way of traveling changed since then?
Yes. So, well, that's a very good question because to be fair, I moved a lot when I was a kid because of my dad's job. So I am born in Rio de Janeiro, aka one of the best cities in the world. But we also lived in São Paulo. And yeah, I have family all over Brazil. So my travel started as early as being a kid. Actually, the first big travel that I remember was we drove from Rio to the Amazon forest by car
Oh,
with
wow.
my family. Yes. I did the way back though. I didn't do the way going. I did the way back with them. And it was very nice. So we went stopping. We stopped in national parks. We went to Pantanal. So that was like the first big story, and it's one of my favorite ones. I think on more like say early adulthood. Before moving to Portugal, I actually decided that I very much wanted to explore more Brazil before I leave. For those that don't know, traveling in Brazil is very expensive because plane tickets and stuff. So I actually went to Salvador, I went to Bahia, and then I went to Chapada Diamantina. That was one of my first like more explore trips alone with friends. And then
Mhm.
we went to Chapada Diamantina. I was supposed to stay a week. I stayed like 3 weeks, and my mom was like, "You have a plane to catch. Everything is booked. Like you have to go." But that was a very, very inspiring moment, and I think it was when I realized, like, okay, this is very much me. And it's so funny that all my friends, like anywhere that you talk, any person that you talk, they're gonna say like, "But yeah, traveling is who you are. Like you're always in a random place. We never know your time zone. You never know where you are, but we can trust that you're doing something equally amazing and random." And so that was one. I mean, I did other international travels more for the US, but I think that was the one travel that have more like the vibe of the travel style that I have now.
Mm.
I think what changed a lot is when I start traveling, and especially when I moved to Europe, I was traveling a lot only for city destinations. I mean, of
Mm.
course, that was my first time in Europe. I didn't know anything. It was very city, very historical, and also very party. I was also like a student, a backpacker, so definitely that way changed. But I think the biggest change is that now, of course, because I'm traveling full time, I also try to travel a little bit more slowly. So I really try to stay in places more and kind of connect with the culture. And I think my style now is very local. So I'm much more interested in doing local experience, meeting local people, kind of like just trying my luck and seeing what it comes
Yeah.
than before, where it would be a bit more mass tourism. I say I still do touristic things because in the end of the day, I think we always tourist either way.
Yeah.
But I think I'm much more focused on slow travel and more sustainable travel. That is something that I've been trying to learn, how I can have also better impact in destinations that I go, and honestly, just more local too. So,
Love it. Yes. And so if you have to describe your way of traveling without a fixed tag, how would you say it would be?
I think it's very easygoing. So it's just like I used to be the person that had like all the plans, the bucket list, and that's still very good to kind of like, otherwise I'm just here like, oh my God, what do I do? But now I'm much more like adventurous, easygoing, and very like, okay, well, I will have a loose plan, but I will leave a lot of room for like whatever it comes. So very spontaneous, let's say. I mean, it's still a tag, but
Yes.
that's the way I would describe it. Like I will go up today and say, okay, this is more or less the idea. But then if I end up going somewhere random because a local invited me to have lunch with him, I would do that, you know?
Yes. 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 I think I started something similar, like following the most popular places, and because I think that it's a stage that you need to do, because I don't know, you see all
Yeah.
these beautiful places and you think like, I need to go here. But after you experience that first part, then you want, I don't know, your body starts asking for something different. I don't know how it works, but
Yeah, I think honestly, also the way that I try to tell people is just like, just be very authentic to yourself because in the end of the day, the only person that you're trying to impress is yourself, right? So, like, you need to kind of feel what you want and what makes sense for you because I also don't like that idea of like, oh, I don't do any touristic things. No, the things are touristic because of a reason, right? Like, I mean, I went to Limorm and Limorm is beautiful, and I will tell everybody to go to Limorm, right? Is a beach in Mauritius. But there's other experiences that might not be that common that are equally amazing. But I agree, like, especially when you start traveling, it's an important is an important is an important path, let's say, because only after you've done it and you're like, okay, you saw it, then you start realizing what you like, what you don't like, what is your rhythm. So yeah,
Mhm. I think you maybe also get like a different confidence in yourself to go beyond but what the
yeah,
books
that
say.
is true.
So you just
That is true.
get more
It's
spontaneous.
especially if you solo travel, building confidence in yourself is very important and feeling safe, right? So, of course, if you don't feel safe, don't do it. But I think for me, it was also like when I started this journey. I mean, I shared to you where I was when I started this journey 7 months ago. I definitely, from 7 months back to now, I definitely had built way more confidence. So I also feel way more like, okay, I can do these things without feeling that I'm at risk. It takes a while to read the place, to read yourself, to understand how things go, you know. So yeah, so I think everything is worth trying.
It is. It is. Becoming like going back a little to
Hmm.
this personal moment of rediscovering yourself and
Yeah.
reconnecting with who Bia is, even or maybe because I don't know, life got a bit messy, and I don't know how. I guess the question is, what tools or what activities or what things help you in this process of bringing the new version of Bia come to life?
That's a great question. First of all, I think now at least, I mean, when the bad period happens, we never see it with the same lights that we see after. But first of all, I think it's very important that that happened to me. And honestly, half of the people that you meet traveling was like, oh, I broke up. Oh, I was fired. Oh, I'm fighting myself. It is how it starts. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to be very honest. I think first and foremost, and I'm a big advocate to it, therapy. I mean, like, I
Right.
am a
Yeah.
huge advocate for mental health. Therapy was one of my most important tools. I needed, like, support. I'd done therapy for many years, and my therapist was very important to that, and so my psychiatrist. But I think after that, definitely like the things that make me feel alive, right? And travel is one of them. So travel for me was actually a tool to reconnect. I didn't see like, oh, I travel and then there was tools. No, for me it made a lot of sense that travel was one of my tools to reconnect with myself. And it is actually true. And I used to say that each destination that I go serve a different purpose for me. So I'm right now in a destination where it's much more quiet, I'm much more alone, but it's very good to focus at work. It's very good for me to kind of like wind down a little bit. I was just in a destination that was very hectic, very social, which was really amazing for me to reconnect with my social butterfly, kind of like golden retriever energy. Sports for sure, but I'm again a big advocate in sports. As I said, I did every single sport. I went to diving, I did surf, I did Muay Thai, I did Tai Chi, I did yoga, I did sound healing, everything that you can name in the book I was trying, even if I didn't succeed. Because I think this idea of putting your body in movement, but also forcing you to try something new, and I
Mhm.
think another tool was journaling. And I mean, each person doing a different way, right? But just having an outlet to put my thoughts and emotions out. And I did that while traveling. So it was very good because it's a mix of like
Mhm.
emotions and travel. And it's very messy, but it's uniquely very, like, it's very nice for me too. So yeah, I think that would be my main tools altogether. And asking for help, honestly, talking with my friends. Like my
I
friends
love
had to
it.
listen so much.
Yes, that's important. Like asking
Yeah,
for help is something that we don't really consider it, and it's a very important tool. Um,
yeah,
and I think you also shared the other day something about drawing or writing or
yeah. I mentioned journaling, right? But drawing too, and just like trying. I mean, I'm doing more digitally now because, of course, I'm in the move. But it was very good for me to like just try different things. As I told you, I was doing this digital collage that is very interesting to go back and see like the different stages that I was every day. Some were more dark, some were very lively, some were very surfy. So yeah, for me, like as I said, I love any creative outlet, and I feel like I have this energy that it needs to be put out, and I am a professional hobby taker. So I have 10,000 hobbies. I'm not good in any of them, but it's just like my thing is having a lot of different hobbies.
do you have any like prompts or something for journaling? Because I didn't like I actually started journaling because I met someone when I was traveling who
Hmm.
told me like I write down everything in my day when I'm traveling because I don't want to forget anything, and maybe someday this can become a book or something. And then I said, I'll buy a journal. And I just froze in front of the journal. Like every day I would come and open and just write down the date and where I was. And that was it. Like maybe a line, I'm having breakfast, and then close it.
So
I didn't
this
go
one's
over.
very mainstream, but they like one of the reasons I journal right now at least is just for me to be grateful too, because as we were talking the other day, perspective is very important because sometimes you're gonna be having a bad day or you're just gonna be caught up in like your emotions and your problems, and that happens a lot to me. So I have this. this one, which is like, what are the three things I'm grateful for? And this is gonna sound very like, okay, but it's very good because it puts you to like think about, and you're like, oh my God, I have a very good life. You know, I have a lot of things to be grateful. And then for me, I've been journaling for years. And as you can see, I'm a very talkative person. So it's not an issue for me to talk or to write. But I put like how I'm feeling today. And if I'm feeling bad, I put like, what are the things that I can do to feel better? And if I want something more like, okay, I want to write about my day, I just write like what I would like to write, what I would like to remember 3 years from now if I write this today. So it depends, I think. But you can also look online because there's very good journaling forums online. It really depends what you are journaling for. And I think this is why a lot of people freeze because you kind of want to journal about everything and you can't, right? So like, are you journaling for, just having like emotional outlet and try to understand how you're feeling about yourself? If you're not a
Mm,
person that easily do that, like just thinking, are you
yeah,
journaling because you want to remember this moment and this experience? Are you journaling because you want to help focus on your goals? So it really depends.
that's interesting. Yes. Now, like, I think also like it's a habit, like, and now I do it and I enjoy it, but it took me like, I don't know, a lot of times of opening, closing it until it started flowing somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's
it
very
makes
normal.
sense, anything of I have written there,
But
but
that's the thing, it doesn't need to make sense. Like you're doing that for yourself, right? So like sometimes you're gonna look like I'm completely nuts when I
yeah.
write. And some other days it makes more sense. But I honestly just doing that for me. And it's really nice to go back to your journal like a year later, a few months later, and you're like, oh my God, you know, I have a lot
Yes,
of different
true.
journals, like digital, in my house, books. It's very sometimes you just gonna have to do, and you're like, oh, wow, I was such a different person.
True, true. What three words would you choose to describe Bia today in this moment?
Very difficult question. Three words, okay. I would say authentic. This is one thing that I'm very proud. I think when I started this journey, I was very lost. I was following a lot of things, a lot of advices, but I was really disconnected to who I was or who I wanted to be. And I feel like I'm
Excellent.
very, nope, better now.
Again, yeah.
It's my headphones.
Sorry.
So authentic because, as I said, I don't know if you hear, but I was saying that when I started, I was very disconnected with myself. I was
Mm,
following advices, but it was, I mean, it was not that it was bad advices, but it was not necessarily for me. And I feel that I'm very proud to have embraced the person that I am, the person that I want to be, without apologizing for it. I think I was almost like afraid that people wouldn't like this version of myself.
mm,
So definitely I'm much more authentically myself now. I feel also say happy. I mean, it's just a very good word. You know what I mean? Happy is just like I'm happy with myself, with the world, with the things I'm doing, with the people I'm connecting with. I know it's very it's an easy answer, but I'm happy to be able to say that I'm happy. And then third, I would say just just I would say also kind because I feel like this journey and the places that I've been made me be a way more kind person. And I think you might relate with what I mean. I suffer of the story of the tough woman, right? Like I had a tough childhood. Born and raised in Rio. I always doubted a bit of the people because, of course, you know, your upbringing, like, and it's not that I was a rude person. That's not it. But I feel like now I'm way more in peace, way more kind, way more
mm,
trusting. Of course, still with your guards up and taking care of yourself. But I
yeah.
don't feel the need to be tough anymore. right? And it's a really good place to be because honestly, I think half of the connections that I'm making, even with you, is just because we connected from a really dear place. I just told you, like, oh, look, this happened. And you're like, oh my God, yes, this happened to me. So we both are really
Yes,
kind to each other to like accommodate, to embrace, right? Yeah, I think those are my three words.
those are great words. Yes, I love
Thank you.
them.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you know how people say that travel is transformational. Do you feel the same? And has been there maybe one specific moment that maybe helped you see things differently in your life?
Oh, first of all, absolutely. I think everybody should travel. And of course, it's a privilege to be able to travel, but it's very transformational in many reasons, but mostly because you need to put yourself outside of your comfort zone. And if you're going for another country, most importantly, you also kind of like, you just put face to face with a different reality of life. But like, if you grew up in the same place for many years, right, and in the same culture, you believe that that's the way that everybody lives and that the world is, right? And the more you travel, the more that you discover that there's not one truth to that, right? People will live differently, will behave different, they will have different um, social structures, behavioral structures, belief systems. So it's very transformational. I do have quite a few. I saw that question and I was like, "Ah, I have so many. I think a recent one I was in Sri Lanka just before coming to Mauritius, where I'm now, and I stayed in a local's house. And I mean, I had my little house, but inside of a local woman's house. And first of all, like she didn't speak any English; she only spoke Sinhalese, and I was trying to like, oh no, Google Translate and stuff. And it was it's gonna be a bit morbid, but it trust is a great story. So basically, her husband passed away 3 months ago, and in the Shingalese culture, they have this celebration after 3 months of death, where they bring together the whole community, the whole family. They do a big celebration to remember the deceased. They go to the temple, they do some offerings. Of course, it depends of the also the religion they follow, and they just do this big gathering where everybody's helping. And I was there, and she invited me. And first of all, this woman was always like behaving like I was her daughter. She was always trying to accommodate me, giving me things, just honestly helping. And this was the first transformational part because she was so kind, so nice, so accommodating, and so was the community. And I mean, of course, if you compare the access that I have was bigger than these people, but they are honestly so open and eager to give, even if they had nothing to give. And then this specific situation was so transformational because I was just there with 45 Sri Lankan people, Sinhalese people, celebrating the life of this person that I didn't know, but they still were making me welcome. I sit at the table with them, I help them. And it was just very interesting for me and eye-opening, right? Of like this concept of community, this concept of giving, this concept of, it's not that I didn't have that, and I come also from a culture that is very community driven, but is it was very good to ignite again the sense of community of giving, this kind of like eternal circle of giving, that when you give, somebody's gonna give you back. And it was
Yeah.
transformational in a way of like it was exactly what I was looking for. And I just kind of broke a lot of like the stigmas, a lot of the conceptions. I was like, oh, I'm already traveling, I already know a lot. And no, I can't explain necessarily what was the takeaway apart from just being more kind to others, just being more giving. But
Yeah.
that specific moment, is one of my fondest travel histories that I have from the recent travels. It's very recent, so of course it's the one I remember most. But it was very beautiful too, and I was like, oh, I don't know this person. They're like, but it's okay. We're just here celebrating the life of somebody that was really dear, and we're just giving back to each other and to the community. So that was, and I always praise myself to be like a community person. I was a community leader, a community manager, and I was like, this is what it's all about, this eternal circle of giving back. And I feel like after that, I was also way more open to give and to receive, you know. So
That's a
yeah.
great story. And I mean, I'm kind of those persons that see things as signs, and I like feel like maybe like this is me creating a story, but it's just like you were on a moment where you were like grieving something, right? Like
Hmm.
overcoming something, and then this woman grieving her husband, and I don't know, like I guess that the universe just put it together and
I
maybe
think so
show you
too.
a way of overcoming or grief in a way that is like surround with the
Different.
people that that can
Exactly.
support you.
Also because the way that we do funerals in Brazil is very different from the celebrations that they had. So that was
Yeah.
also a very interesting cultural learning, right? It was still a sad, let's say, a sad, beautiful moment, right? But it was very, very interesting. And as you said, like we take the lessons that we want to take from situations. And I think for me, it was also a hit of like closing from my own grieving from the version that I was before and the version that I am becoming.
That's nice. That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very nice.
So you were doing a like a homestay experience there. You were staying with
Yeah,
a
it was
family.
it was a homestay, so it was like this Airbnb inside of her own. Like she had a big house, and then
Oh yeah,
they built these little houses, but it was
yeah,
very local. It was like 7 minutes, 10 minutes by car from the center. And honestly, it was
nice.
my favorite part of my Sri Lanka experience was to
Yeah,
be in that place. Like I would pass, and the other people would be like, "Oh, the Brazilian girl," and I was like, "Hey!" And like there was a little vendors, and I made a point to buy every one thing from each vendor every day, and they would be so
yeah.
happy. So yeah.
I love it. And my next question is actually maybe already related, but I'll just
Mhm.
do it. I started traveling my way because of the connections I formed when I was traveling. Like for me, it was just so easy and so natural to connect with people. So I was just wondering what connections or community have looked like for you in this journey.
Wow, it's incredible. So like I mean, as you can see, I'm a very outspoken person. But it's funny that when I started this, I probably didn't feel my life as lonely as I did as when I first like in the moment that led me to start traveling. Don't get me wrong, like I had the job, I had friends, but I felt so lonely. And it was very weird for me because I felt like also I was not in a good space mentally, but I just felt like nobody cared, nobody was there, which is completely not true. And this is a public apology for my best friends that were there the whole time. It's kind of like, you know. But I tend to say that I solo travel, but I'm never solo. Since the moment that I started to travel, I've connected with incredible like-minded people. And my best friends say to this, they're like, this is why traveling is for you because in here you are not able to find the people that kind of like, of course, that you can be friends with people that have different hobbies and different likes than you. This is all my best friends are completely different from me, but it was so welcoming, and I've been so lucky because I just met the most incredible people. I haven't been alone until now, honestly. Um, and community was very important, and I found community in different ways, right? So I found communities either by like organized communities from co-livings, co-workings, digital nomad groups, or even just honestly like communities from the sports that I was doing, the different activities, or even the local communities that I was entering myself at. And to be fair, it's so funny that you asked this because I met a travel buddy. I was in Japan. I joined a workation in Japan in Okinawa. And first of all, it was insane. There was 50 people, and I never been in a group where everybody connected so well. Like I made 10 best friends in that trip, honestly, that I talk every day until now, honestly. And then I met a Spanish guy there that became like my brother, my best friend. Everybody's like, oh, but it was dating. I was like, no, absolutely not. We connected so much that we literally traveled 4 months straight since the day we met till now together. So we were in Japan, we went to Thailand, we went to Indonesia, and we went to Sri Lanka together. And then we created our own little travel community. And that was so beautiful and so nice. So yeah, I think community, and for me, honestly, the most important part of my travels had been the people that I met. It would have been a completely different experience if I haven't met the people that I met, because I feel like I experienced each place differently, also by the connections that I made. So it honestly was the most important part of my travels.
I agree. Yes, I feel the same. People are important. Every journey has like two sides. Every journey. We
Hmm.
have the
Of course.
challenges and the lessons that come after those challenges. And we also have the moments that we have the most joy, and that those that we carry with us, or that even that we feel proud of ourselves because we discovered something about ourselves or did something that we didn't think we could, and those kind of things. So what is from this journey one lesson and one thing that brought you really a lot of joy, or you feel very proud of?
So, very good question. For me, it's really interesting because I started this journey from a difficult moment. So I feel
Yeah.
it's also a little bit different because it's not like, oh, I encounter very. I think the biggest difficulty was honestly the moment that I was feeling where, like my whole, I mean, for context, for whoever's watching, I was passing for a really difficult, turbulent personal moment from a broke up and leaving a corporate job, and I was very lost. So I think that was a difficulty. And my solution to that was less travel, because it's going to be the way for me to get in touch with myself. It's a different perspective. So I think it's hard for me to kind of like point to difficulties because I was already passing through a moment that I believe was my biggest
Mm.
difficulty. I think for sure the biggest difficulty that you feel when you travel is that you are faced with realities of yourself that you might not be that proud, right? As I said, we all have some bias. We all have like some,
Yeah.
and what I mean prejudice is not against the law or anything, but we do because we grow up with that. We are raised with that. And this is a challenge to arrive in a place and be like, wait, wait, wait. These people don't need to behave my way, don't need to act my way. They don't need to understand my ways because I am I'm invited in their space, right? And I think that's a clash. So that for sure was like a big learning for me to like,
Mm.
okay, I was already passing into this whole universe cleansing. At the same time, I was like being faced with this realities, like, and that goes for many things, not only about like, attitudes, but maybe you realize you're not that organized as you thought you were. Maybe you realize you're not that good of a listener or that attentive, right? And that pretty much comes to show when you're traveling and you have people that never met you before, and they just make assumption of
Sure.
you so fast. So that was a big, like, let's say, a big challenge in this moment that, of course, I was so fragile about myself. So being
Mhm.
able to be like, okay, let's take feedback positively. Let's understand each situation. And I think one thing that I'm really proud, I mean, that comes more for the work, like it's two things, but I think one was that I was able to build my own job and my own
Amazing.
consultancy, and it's working and it's been working. I mean, it can improve. So if anyone out there wants to hire me, sorry. But I'm very proud of that because before I did this, I delayed this for so many years because I didn't thought I was capable. I didn't thought it was for me.
Mm.
Honestly, while I was in the same company for 6 years and I didn't left before because I didn't thought anyone would hire me. So to go for a place where I have my own like stable string of income. I have my own consultancy. I have people talking and connecting with me, and I have so many plans and ideas of things that I want to build. It's very rewarding,
Yeah.
and I only was able to do that because I was traveling, because I put myself out there to everything together, for the job, for the world, for the people, but also because of the community. So I'm very proud of that, and also I think a big joy is just look back to my life and be like, oh my God, I've done those things. Like I share with you, I think that as I was growing up, one of my dreams was to be an
Yeah.
international representative for National Geographic. I used to say to my mom, I'm gonna travel the whole world. And then I was talking with her and with some friends recently, and they said, but do you realize that you're actually achieving your dream of traveling the whole world? It might take you more time to go to the whole world, but you're actually doing it. So yeah, so that's another thing.
I love it. Do you still have the same dream of working for National Geographic or not anymore?
I mean, do it might be like I am okay for other travel channels, it's fine. But
I'm
like
available. Okay, I
I tell
like
my
it.
friends, it's like you have to have your reachable goals and you have to have your delusional goals. And my delusional goals for this year is either do a collaboration with National Geographic, either land a contract with Harley Davidson, because my dream is also to own a Harley Davidson and cross like the whole South America in a bike trip. But that is a bit harder because I don't have a
No,
license.
I love it. I love it, and I agree. I also have delusional like goals in life. I think
They're not
that
necessarily delusional, right? But I mean, they're a bit delusional, but
yeah, yeah. I mean, like the big ones, right? Like the ones
exactly.
that you right now can't actually put the step by step because it's like really,
Hmm.
but it's
It,
there,
it doesn't
and like
depend necessarily on you, right? It's like they are big dreams. They are also dreams that I'm okay if I don't achieve them, because as hard they can be.
yeah,
Those are not the dreams that you just put in like a to-do list every day and then you're gonna achieve it
yeah,
one day. But it's very nice to have those dreams too, like these big goals that might seem
it is.
delusional and one day they happen. Because we have to have something to keep us going, right?
I do, and I love it. Yes, I think that we are going to see you in National Geographic at some point.
Manifesting.
We are manifesting. Exactly. Yes. Yes. um, yeah. And do you want us to tell? Do you want us to talk about, or do you want to tell us a bit about what you are doing, your business, or not
Okay.
yet?
Yeah, so as I talked really briefly, my background is hospitality. And
Yeah.
for many reasons, I was trying to go a little bit out of it. And now I'm basically I'm doing consultancy, but I'm basically work with community-led growth and brand development. So I work with brands to create the brand, position the brand to the market study, and I also do the growth part depending on how it looks. So it's mainly also digital marketing. And then I have a lot of different clients. I'm mainly working with travel tech and tourism and hospitality because, of course, it's my background. But I also have clients in customer goods, which is very nice and interesting. So I basically can help brands and or individuals in many ways because I have the intersection between the business side and the creative side. So I really like to say like, okay, what is our mission? How are we going to position ourselves? How we're going to grow? What is the go-to-market
Yes.
strategies? What are the different marketing strategies? So we do a mix of different things. And as you can see, I'm still figuring out. Um,
Yes.
and I'm also
Nice.
doing a lot of content marketing for different brands. So yeah, I
That's
jack of all
awesome.
trades, let's say.
Yeah.
A
Okay. I
generalist
like
in a
it.
nutshell. Yeah,
But that's good. Yes, I think
yeah.
I learned recently that term actually generalist, and I like it because I think that that's like
Yeah,
brings all my skills together somehow and all the the things that I've done,
exactly.
all my interests.
So I just recently started collaborating with a startup, which we are seed level still, but I'm basically the fractional CMO doing all the growth and community
Amazing.
side. So it's a platform for solo travelers that we are building. So of
Congratulations.
course it
Yes.
hits home. And
Yes.
so yeah, so I'm basically building like together with the team the strategy. We're building the product. We're hitting we're connecting with community managers. We are understanding how we can hit the market, and of course, I'm the best case study, so it makes a lot of sense.
Great. Congratulations. That's
Thank you so much. I'm very
amazing.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah, if your life were a book, how would you call this chapter or name this chapter?
Oh. Okay, wow, that's a very difficult question. Uh,
I know.
I would say the real, I mean, it's gonna be a little bit weird. I'm not that good of namings, but the real delusionals of Bia. Why? Because everything that I'm doing now were my delusionals a couple months or years ago, but they are
Yeah,
real now. So it's like
I
it's
love
this
that.
very utopic moment almost that I'm like, oh my God, who would say for me a year ago that I would be doing this interview in Mauritius Island? You know,
I'm
like
loving it.
going to
Yes.
have a call after this with a super nice content creator that I always wanted to collaborate. So yeah, the real delusionals of Bia, where my delusionals came
Yes.
reality, and my life just look uh, like a big crazy story that you would tell in movies, but it's my reality. I mean, at least for me, and it's very fun.
Yeah, I love that. And it ties like so nicely with what we were talking just before this
Exactly.
question, right? Like we need to
Mhm.
be have delusional like
Because
goals.
today is not delusional, right? And maybe a year from now, what I thought it was delusional today is not delusional. So it's very nice to have this big
Yes.
dreams and you achieve that and you're like, wow. So yeah.
I like it. Yes, that's all right. And sometimes we don't wait. Sometimes we just go through life without noticing those things, without thinking that, okay, like a year before, this was not even like possibility, like, like a chance. And now I'm
But
living
that
it.
is why the gratitude journal was a very big change for me because I
Mm,
used to be this person that was almost going like almost like I was a car on a highway going to 300 an hour and it would achieve all these different goals and all the different marks, but I was so focused on in what came next that I was not enjoying the moment or I was not like congratulating myself or just enjoying those things that I wanted so much to achieve a couple of months ago. And to be
yes,
fair, recently too, like with my travels, and that happened a couple of times because of course, I mean, I'm freelancing now. There's always different struggles. It's not that life it's without any problems, right? And the very good people that I met along the way were the ones being like, yes, but you were doing amazing. Like you were doing everything you wanted to. You were exactly where you wanted to.
yes,
Yes, you have other
true.
goals. Yes, you have problems because I think we also create this vision in our mind that
Yeah,
we're gonna achieve that place when we're not gonna have problems. And that's not true. That's the Hollywood part of things, right? The movie part of things. So for me, doing that gratitude challenge with myself was very important. So I can like be able to realize the achievements, be able to realize where I am, the small goals. And honestly, as a good Brazilian, we love celebrating. So we have to celebrate every single milestone.
yes, yes. I like that. And also because we are always like on to the next and we don't take the time to celebrate where we are today. We are already thinking about, okay, what's
Exactly.
next? And I love it. But yeah,
Exactly.
just two more questions. From
Okay.
other trips or experiences, what's one that you hold like closest to your heart? And for you, what makes a trip or an experience like memorable or like that?
Okay. So I think it's not a secret. I think Sri Lanka, 10 out of 10, because of the experience that I had with my local Sri Lanka mom.
Okay,
Mm,
yes.
I think that is like a big, important one. I think also my first destination in this journey, which was the Philippines. And I was in Siargao with a group hosted by my dear friend Marie. And that I hold that very dear because that was the trip that initiated this process. Because my goal was to go, stay a month, and come back. And that trip was very transformational. It was also where I was in my lowest period in many years. So it was very heavy emotionally, but very transformational. And also Japan, because I just met the best people in Japan, in Okinawa.
Mhm.
And sorry, I missed the second part.
Now, what makes like for you, what makes a trip or an experience like memorable and not just one
The
on your
people that I
list?
meet. Yes, I
Yes.
think definitely the people that I meet and the different experience that I have, I think I was reflecting on this today actually. I tend to remember much more things by the experience that I had with people than the other way around, right? So I will remember situations much more because I was there having a wine with my best friend, or because I share a big laugh with this group of random people in Hirikati in Sri Lanka, or because, I went to the funeral of the deceased husband of my Sri Lanka mom. It's definitely the people. And as a solo traveler and as a person that for many years didn't want to necessarily travel with people,
Mm.
it's also very interesting to see by the sides, right? So I think it's definitely the people that I meet.
I love it. Yes, I agree. But yeah, for this year or for the next future, any goals, dreams? What comes? What's next?
Yes. So, I mean, I share my delusionals already.
Yeah.
I think for this year, this goal is to be able to continue to travel remote and continue to doing what I'm doing and continue to maintain my mental health and, this really beautiful moment that I'm living, but in a more professional side to be able to grow, find more stability. Freelancing can be a little bit patchy. So to be able to grow what I'm doing to actually a business project. And I also share with you my passion project, which is I've been dipping little feet in the water of creating content, just sharing, my stories, and to be able to
Mm.
actually have the courage to start that because just like you, but in another way, I also want to share my stories, other people's
Mm.
stories. So I think we have the delusional goals, we have the personal
Mm.
emotional goals, which is continue to be in a good mental health space, continue to be living the life that I
Yeah.
always wanted to, and the professional goals, which is to grow my business, to find the stability, to be able to help other people and other business to grow,
Yeah.
and in another side of it, in a creative side, to be able to start this creative project. So yeah, a lot of goals.
I love them, all of them. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Ria.
Thank
I'm
you.
really
This is very
excited.
fun. Me too. And I'm
Thank,
sure that we're going to continue to do things together. I think you're also doing something amazing. I told you, like, when you explained me
thank
what
you.
you're doing in the project, that I found it brilliant because, I mean, it was so nice that we connected and then we were helping each other. So that's
Yeah.
exactly what life is about.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I think
Yeah.
we connected like instantly because I don't know,
Yeah.
we've lived similar things. Even I was telling you, like maybe in different stages of our lives, but I
Hmm.
don't know how life like it's so mysterious that we were anyway connected by similar experiences or circumstances, and that's amazing.
Exactly. But again, it's what you said, right? The universe has its ways and it's gonna put in our life exactly who is supposed to be there. And that's the power of internet that you are in Peru or in Mauritius and then we are connected.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
I'm going to be sharing, of course, your Instagram, all the way that people can connect with you. Maybe we should tag Geo. We can do
We're
that.
gonna say to everyone to tag you and how did
Yeah.
they send? Just to like help a girl with her
Yes.
delusional. Like it's your next marketing campaign. I think it's a great
We
one.
need to. We need to do that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Ria.
Thank you so much, Valeria. It was a joy to speak with you, and I'm sure we're gonna continue talking